Hello everyone and welcome back to Ark Survival Ascended, the island. So in the previous episodes we did go ahead and kill all of the guardians and in all the difficulties. So that is the Gamma, Beta, and Alpha for the Dragon, the Broodmother, and the Megapithecus. And now we are on the Overseer, which is the final boss for the island. We do need to fight this boss in order to ascend off the island. That is a requirement. And as you can see, we are in the volcano right now. So the volcano is the place where you access the cave in order to get to the Overseer. And so now we have all these dinosaurs that are set up, and these are the ones we're going to use for the fight. So I'm going to spend this beginning time to kind of explain how to get set up and what you're going to need to go into the fight. And then we'll head on into the door that leads to the cave. Alright, so let's move up to the front here. And the first thing we want to talk about is going to be the requirements to open the door for the beta version. We'll be skipping the gamma version and going straight into the beta version. There's not really a point in doing the gamma. You can open the door for any version if you have the alpha heads. They do require additional things if you want to summon the beta and the alpha, or I guess open the door for the beta and the alpha caves. So if we look at the additional requirements, the alpha requires everything from the beta plus additional things. So for the beta, we just need the things that we have in here already, which is the trophies, the guardian trophies, as well as the alpha raptor claw, alpha tyrannosaurus tooth, and the alpha carnosaur arm. And then also for the alpha version of the cave, we are going to need the additional things that aren't there. So the megalodon fin, mosasaur tooth, Tuso eye, and then elite Sithis blubber. So the blubber is probably the hardest thing to get, and this is what's preventing me from actually doing the alpha right now. And so I do need to go grab that at some point. I have not been able to find any alpha elite Sithis on this map, so hopefully I can find one and then we can ascend from the alpha. But for now, we're gonna skip the gamma version and go straight to the beta. And the beta actually isn't too difficult, and even the alpha is not too difficult for this fight. There's just a few things you just need to go through, like the cave. The cave isn't difficult, but it is very long and tedious. And then once you get through the cave, the actual fight isn't that bad. The whole process is just very long, and so you'd probably want to do as few of these trips into the cave as possible. You only need to do them once in order to gain the bonuses of Ascension. And so it's always good to just do alpha if you can, and if not, then at least do the beta. Alright, so let's talk about the dinosaurs now. So we're going to start off with a Karchar in the front, and we do that because there are a lot of dinosaurs in the caves, and the levels do vary based on what version you're doing. So if you're doing the gamma, the dinosaurs in the cave are like 190s, and if you're doing the beta, they go up to the 300s, so 300, 320, and then if you're doing the alpha version, they're going to be close to 600s, so like 600, 620. So you're going to have to deal with that. You can definitely get through this with a single Karchar on gamma and beta. You're probably going to want to do mate boosted Karchars if you're doing the alpha though. And there is a Giga at the end of the beta and alpha versions, and that Giga is not the same level as everything else in there. It's usually very low, so I think between 5 and 150 if you're doing the standard max level cap. I guess it could be higher if you're increasing the level cap beyond the standard max. Alright, so the next dinos we're going to look at are the Therizinosaurs, and these guys are decently mutated. I think they have like 7 mutations on them, but they do have some veggie cakes on them, so we can use those to heal up. And this is actually a really good fight to use veggie cakes because the damage isn't like constant, it's just a burst of damage, and then you have a little bit of time in between it takes additional damage. So the veggie cakes work out pretty well for this fight, probably the best fight for these. So most of these do have 10 cakes on them. I think this one and maybe a few other ones have 15 because that spares to put on them. Okay, this one has 10. So if we look at the stats, they're going to have 20k health, 800% damage, and they're also going to have 100 armor saddles on them, or a little bit more than 100. So that's pretty much what we're working with, and you can achieve that, you know, through any combination of mutations as well as leveling up. Alright, so let's look at the Rexes now, and these things are a little more mutated. I was able to actually get them pretty high with luck, so I have a +4 into health, and that's 50 health total. And then we also got a +16 into melee, and so that is a total of 57 melee. And that gets us 900% damage and 25k health. And all these should be the same level. I did level them up in the same way in the ice cave, with some of them getting a little bit more XP than the others. Alright, so let's talk about the process now. So the process to get everything in there, as you can see, we kind of lined them all up in a certain order, and they're kind of single file. So we want everything to go through the door in a single file line, because if they start clumping up, they could get stuck on the door. And we're going to bring our Karchar in first, and then we're going to bring in their Theres, and then we're going to bring in the Rexes. So we do have all these rafts that we put down on the lava. You can place rafts on the lava on this map. I mean, they don't burn up or any of that stuff. It doesn't make sense, but they don't burn up. And so yeah, so you just place these rafts down. This should work on PvE and PvP. And if you can build, you should be able to build on it as well. Like these metal frames and stuff, these should be able to be built across as well. And you could probably use other types of things as well, like stone. So with the rafts and with the metal frames, we are able to make these platforms, and this will let us walk across the lava area, and it blocks off us from being able to fall into the lava. It does make it a little bit easier to get things to go through the door correctly, because that sharp corner around the door is really hard to get through, especially for Rexes. And there is a 5-minute timer, but the door remains open. So anything that does not make it through the door within that 5 minutes will be locked out. So it's really a scramble to get everything through, especially if you're doing this solo. Alright, so a few other things I want to mention before we go inside is that you will need a few things on you that are very important. One of those is the tech chest piece. This is an absolute must-have. And also some element to power the tech chest piece. I would say 40 elements probably good enough for this fight. You don't need to bring a lot of element, because any element that you do not use up will disappear when you are ascended. You're also going to want to bring a lot of shotgun shells, so I have about 1,000 here. And you also want to bring a good shotgun. So this one is crafted, and it did get a pretty good craft, and it is 417% damage. And if your dinosaurs do die, this is going to be your only source of damage against the boss. So as you can see, that the shotgun has over 4,000 durability. If your durability is under 1,000, I would recommend bringing 2 shotguns just in case you run into problems and your shotgun breaks. If you're over 1,000, you probably should be safe enough to use that same shotgun throughout the entire fight. And some other things you want to bring along with you are some med brews, also various types of soups, and then a couple of containers of water. You will be using up quite a bit of the water in the actual Tek Cave because it is considered a volcano and it is very hot. You can also bring a few cryopods. You can cryopod dinos up into the cryopods while you're inside the cave, but you can't throw anything out while you're in the cave. It will tell you that you can't use the item in there. So when you get to the end, you can cryopod up your Karchar, so you can save that from being destroyed, since it won't fit inside of the terminal to go into the arena. So when you get into the arena, you will need some cold weather gear. You don't need the chest piece because you're going to be wearing the tech chest piece, but just enough cold weather gear so that you're not going to be freezing inside of that. You can also bring an otter, which will help with the temperatures. The dino cap is pretty high. I think it's like 50, so you won't reach that at all unless you are really good at getting everything in. So feel free to bring your otter. And then you're also going to need some hot weather gear for the cave because it's hot. So bring some ghillie, or maybe if you even have some desert cloth, that would work as well. Alright, so that's pretty much it for preparations. So let's go ahead and get ready. We're going to need to use some soups, and then we're going to use the terminal here. and we're going to open this door, and this is going to start the timer to get everything in, so it's going to be kind of a rush. Alright, so we can see that the beta and the gamma are highlighted, so we do have everything in here that we need for those two. So all we need to do now is just turn it on and then get everything, put it inside of our flyer. So we don't need this stuff anymore. Alright, and the door's open, so let's try to get everything in here. Let's whistle the fairies so they can follow me, and so we just hop on the car char and just walk right in. Try to clear out this first couple packs here and then go back up and then check on the Rexes and see if we can get those in here. The goal is really just to get all the fairies in right now. Alright, let's whistle them to stay, and then I can fight these guys and I'll head back up there and check on everything else. I think we're good now. Yeah, I think we should be fine. Oh, why is that guy over there? Okay, that's not good. Let's try to get this guy out of here. He's not even... Oh, it's just a regular theory. What the... I thought that was one of our theories. Okay, that's weird. Okay, let's go up and hopefully get everything down here really quickly. There it goes. Okay. Well, we did a pretty good job, though. This is about what I expected to get in here. Alright, I need to, like, resituate these guys. I didn't mention this before, but you definitely want to, like, have the Rexes on their own group. There we go. Okay. You have the Rexes in their own group and have the Theris in a different group. So we have, this is what we have in here. Definitely not too bad. I think, yeah, I think we should be fine with this. Let me just try to like whistle these guys off. It's like, I probably can't, that's fine. Alright, so yeah, we have, what do we have, 7, 8 in here? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8. That's pretty good for beta. We just need to make sure we get everything down into the boss fight now. So what I recommend now is to try to get things set up to where they're going to be in order again. There's a huge, it's going to take a long time to get down there with all these things. So we'll have to really focus on that. But be careful too, with some of these ramps are really hard to navigate with these big dinos. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna try to work on getting these guys all down and lined up, and then I'll come back whenever we start moving again. Alright, I think we have everything sorted now, so what I do need to do though is clear this place out first with the cart jar. Then I could bring everything else down. So I'll go do that first, and then we can kind of walk through each of the harder spots after that. These guys can all stay up here. It's fine, we do have a decent amount of time left. And once we get into the Overseer Arena, the timer goes away, which we don't have a timer now, but there is a timer going. And clearing this stuff out should be pretty quick. But we do have things that are spawning in the mesh, so that's going to be a little bit harder to find these things. And if we go out of render distance and come back up here, a lot of these things will pop back up, so we have to deal with them now before we bottle up our Karcher. So I do walk around and try to bite every once in a while to see if anything appears. That's one way to deal with it. And we did lose all our stacks trying to move everything down, which is why you want to just clear everything out at one time so that you keep your stacks on the Karcher. And also the health bonus that we get from killing one creature will give us a boost to our regen and our stamina regen as well. So it does make the Karcher the best dinosaur for doing this. So it is probably the fastest one as well. And once you get your 100 stacks, eating a lot of these things is going to be pretty quick. So we'll definitely mow through a good chunk of this cave very quickly. Alright, so I'll speed this section up and then we'll come back when we have something to talk about. Alright, so this is the point where you're going to run into the Giga, and the Giga will typically spawn somewhere along this path, either by the door or up here somewhere. And this is usually the hardest fight in the entire cave. So there are many different ways you can handle this particular part of the cave. You can bring pheromone darts, you can, bring mate boosted creatures. You can bring a lot of more creatures than we have, but for now, I'm just going to use what we currently have, which is the Karchar, and if it takes a lot of damage, it's fine. We can heal back up from all the stuff that is along the path still. And really, once we get past this point, there's not really anything else that we have to worry about. We can use the Rexes if we need to kill everything else. This one being level 10 is not that bad. If it was a higher level, I'd be a little more concerned. But it does do bleed damage, so it does whittle away my health pretty quickly. Yeah, it's starting to get pretty bloody. And it's like dying pretty quick. Alright, so that was the hard parts. And if you look at our health, it did take quite a bit of our health, but it is regenning pretty fast. Even without force feeding it, it's still going up pretty quick. And every time this thing kills something else, it's going to increase the health regen again. So it'll probably be up to full health by the end of this cave. There should only be 1 Giga in here. I don't think I've ever seen 2 of them in here. So once you get past that one, then you're good to go. Alright, so I'm going to finish the last bit of this, and then I'm going to go up to the top and try to walk everything back down. Alright, so this is the part where we can go back up. This is the end of the tunnel. And yeah, look at my health on this thing. It's already back up to full. And this is the benefits of the Karchar. So nothing's going to spawn behind this area, so we should be good to go get everything and then bring it back down here. I think we have everything cleared. I'm going to just walk up and make sure nothing's respawning, repopping up. Nothing's going to respawn, but things will pop up out of the ground if they were underground, and I de-rendered them for a little bit. And when we get to the top, we're going to walk everything back down. This is the more tedious part of this. I think we have about 45 minutes left on the timer, and it'll probably take at least 20 minutes to get everything down here. So I'm going to head back up, and I'll see you up there. Okay, so let's start from here, and everything should be connected to each other so we can start walking everything back down. I think we can get ahead of the Karchar. I just need to like park it somewhere where it's not going to be in the way. Yeah, it's going to be in the way right here. So I think what I might do is go back down and we'll park it below, and it's like a little side section we can park it on. But I don't want to put it in a crop pod yet, just in case I might need it for something. Like there might be like a Uranus under the ground that I need to take care of. So it's the only reason I'm going to keep it out for now, but then I'll probably put it away once we get things down to the bottom. Alright, I think we should be good now. Let's start moving everything down. And really the biggest thing is make sure that they're all separated. They're all on follow 3, like the level 3 for following. And really the biggest thing is you want to stay on the path, but stick close to the side where the walls are. And the theories will naturally stick to the paths The AI has definitely been improved since Ark Survival evolved. The only problem is that they are slow to react, so they'll take them a second to realize that somebody in front of them moved, and they have to go catch up with them. Alright, I'm gonna go check on the Rexes, and I'll bring them down as well. They can stay in a big group for now, but I typically split these off into like 2 at a time. And Rexes may not even be worth bringing in here, to be fair. What I should do is I should go mark the end of the Theres, so I know where they stop. But yeah, if you didn't have Rexes, I think it would speed up the time it takes to get to the bottom to be much quicker, probably like half the time. And you could do just a big, long chain of Theres if you wanted to. Alright, I need to spread these guys out and then have them link up, so that's going to take me a little bit of time. But I will come back when they are done and we are moving again. Alright, we got them all lined up and we can bring them down to where the Theres are now. So you just take some time and take it slow with the Rexes. Their pathing is not as good as the Theres. They do tend to get stuck a little bit more, and they also do like to jump off cliffs. But this early area is not too bad. There's only a couple spots on this entire path that you need to just watch, and it's really just tight turns and small entrances points. So I think what I'll do is I'll just skip to those spots because it's probably going to take me some time to get down into the bottom. And I think speeding it up, it will probably still make this video incredibly long. So I'll come back to the first problem spots, and then I can show you how to fix any issues you might run into or what to do in those situations. Alright, so we made it past the easy part and the beginning, and this is now coming to one of the first hard spots in the path. So I'd recommend breaking the line somewhere if you don't want to risk losing a bunch of your dinos. Because if one goes in, they all go in, essentially. So I did break the line in the middle here, so we're going to have a small section, like just 2 lines that we're going to walk through this area. So one of the main problems is that when you come around this corner right here, you will encounter a drop off on one side, and it tends to cause the dinos to run out on the edge. So you have to be very careful and probably go very slow in this section. Oh, look at that. Yeah, see, they're already trying to fall off the edge. That'll get him to stop. Just try to whistle him to stop if you can. No, don't. Okay, good. I think we've got it to stop now. Yeah, if that was Rexes, I think the Rexes would have taken off into the lava. And at that point, there's nothing you can do about that. You just lost a bunch of them. Let's try to get them back on track here. Sometimes you might have to break the line again and do smaller groups. Alright, so let's take it slow again, and probably not good to use the card chart to do this, but if we go slow enough with the Theres, they should fall in line. Yeah, it looks like they're doing fine now. Okay. So let's try to reconnect them and then move forward. And I would say for the Rexes for this section, you probably want to walk them around the corner and then just go that straight line, then you can probably link them back up. So it shouldn't take too much time to get them around that corner one at a time, since there's so few of them. And while we're here, I'll show you the next hard part, which is actually the hardest part in this path. So the path leads down into this little hallway. And you see there's like a lot of small little crevices that you can fall into. And it's really hard to get through here. But you can path through here with the Theres. The Rexes, you probably have to walk down one at a time, maybe 2 at a time, if you're running short on time to get through. So let's go head back up and go to the Theres, and I'll show you that process. That's really it. After this, then you should be good to go. You should be home free. There are a few drop-offs, but they are easily avoidable with all of your dinos. Alright, so that's going to be it. Yeah, so as you saw, I just took my time, walked a little bit, let them catch up, and they pretty much stayed on path. So that's kind of the process you do. The Rexes might be a little bit more trickier, so you might have to do them one at a time. But beyond this, it is pretty straightforward. There isn't much else you have to worry about. There's like a drop off, but you can jump off if you wanted to. And that's where we fought the Giga at, and I'll show you that part here in a second. But yeah, once you get past this point, you're pretty much safe. And hopefully you have a decent amount of time left on the timer. I would say at this point, if you're under 10 minutes, you want to rush. You probably want to abandon stuff and get everything down as fast as possible, because it will take about a minute to fire off the teleporter. So yeah, I'll get everything down there, and I'll show you the last section, and then we'll head up into the Overseer fight. Alright, very quickly, I just want to show you the last part since we did everything else. To get the Rexes ahead of the Therizinosaurs, just so I can get them into this section first. So I'm going to grab just 2 of them right now, but beyond this, it is pretty straightforward. The lava does have some stuff blocking it, so it's really hard to fall off on this section, and also the lava is pretty shallow, so you can probably whistle things out if you need to. So like this point right here, it's a straight shot. Even though there's lava on both sides, it's still straight, so you don't have to actually worry about things rounding a corner and then falling into lava. Then even this section right here, it's a lava on one side and then the wall on the other side, but it's really wide, so you have a lot of room to path around. Oh, we're missing the guy. Where did he go? Okay, there he is. So if we keep going this way, you're going to run into a cliff, and this is where I was talking about earlier, where you can kind of shortcut it and jump down, and things will path down by jumping eventually. It just takes them a little bit of time, but as you can see, this will shortcut the little curve here, and it does reduce the risk of falling into the lava. So the path is pretty wide down there, and yeah, it's really fun to do this with a few of these, but if you get too many, then they start to jump past the guys are following, and then they start to run around in circles to try to get back to the guy, and they could fall into lava at that point. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to go back up there and grab everything else, and I think we'll have to take them all down the same method that we just walked these 2 down with. And the Theries will be easier because they do path in a shorter space, but I do need to hurry because I am not sure how much time I have left. But this is the end of the cave, so we're almost there. Okay, so we finally made it down to the bottom, and I think I marked one of these guys as the end. This didn't take a terribly long time. I would say probably close to 35-40 minutes, roughly. Oh yeah, there's the end, so there we go. But yeah, roughly 15 minutes to kill everything, and then probably 25-30 minutes to get everything to the bottom. So I'm going to get everything inside this bubble, and this is the end of the lava, so no more lava past this point. So we probably have everybody just follow each other in, since there's nothing else we need to worry about as far as hazards go. Alright, so let's go on here, and then let's have them follow the Rexes. And that should be good enough. So inside this little bubble, it will be cold, so we have to put on our cold weather gear. And also put on our chest piece. We can fly around if we need to. And let's get some soups as well, just in case it's a little too cold still. Which I don't think it will be because we have our otter on us. If we didn't have an otter on us, then it'd be very cold in here. So beyond this point, it is pretty straightforward. And if you do need some more water, you can get water up ahead. And I'll show you where that is here. I'll probably fill up my container as well. And here's the water hole. So you just walk down here, grab some water, and you should be able to get back up. It shouldn't be too hard to get back up out of this spot. And there we go. And I guess what I'm going to do is just speed through this and get through the teleporter, because there is still a little bit more left before we actually get to the fight. So I'll try to make this as less boring as possible. Alright, so this is the teleporter, and I did put the Rexes on here, and we have the Theories we gotta pack in. Everything should be able to fit. You can teleport up to 50 dinosaurs from this spot, and if you need to, you can do multiple teleportations. So you can teleport things, run out of the range of the teleporter, and then teleport more dinos in if you need to. But with what we have, it should all fit in here, and we definitely don't have 50 dinos, that's for sure. So the range is actually pretty wide. It goes beyond the door. So even things that are down the ramp a little bit will still be teleported with us. I just need to double check, make sure nothing else is out here. Nothing fell off or any of that stuff. Yeah, it looks like we're good. I think everything's in there. So yeah, everybody's in, so we can go ahead and get this started now. We also don't jump right into the fight. We do have a little bit of a walk to get to the actual boss fight, so if you don't have everything on you right now, you should be fine. Just make sure all your dinos are ready to go at this point. Now, I think we're all healed up. We have all of our water, so let's hit the button and let's get out of here. Check the range of the teleporter. I can show you how wide this is. Actually, it's pretty big. So here's this side of it. So everything on this side's good. Then on this side, it's pretty much down a little bit past the hallway here. So you can fit quite a bit in here. Alright, so we made it up to the Overseer's lair. So this is where the Overseer resides. But this part's not where we fight at. We fight a little bit further down inside the main arena. But this is considered like the control center for the island. So there's a lot of lore in here. You can find some notes as well in here. Alright, so let's get everybody back organized and in a line. So we do get to keep some of the connections, like some of the following points that we had before, which is nice. So we only need to reconnect a few of these guys. So it shouldn't take too much longer to get everything grouped up and then in line. Then after that, we can just move into the area where the boss is, which is still a little bit of ways away. Surprisingly, there's quite a bit of a walk. But at least now we don't have a timer to worry about. There is infinite amount of time in here. I think this is designed to be done without any timer in mind, so you can spend as long as you want. And that's why people do come in here with just a jetpack and a shotgun and take hours to do this fight, which I'm not a fan of. Alright, so we got that Theories connected. Now we should get the Rexes connected, and yeah, it should be pretty easy to get things through here. There's not really much in the way of hazards. It's just a couple of curves and it's mostly straight lines. So once we get everything connected, it should be pretty quick to get to the arena. There are some notes in here if you want to get the lore notes. You can grab something like this, and these do add up and you can get achievements for these. So if you're interested in that, then go for it. There's also, I think you do get extra levels if you find all of them from the island. So you want to make sure you grab these while you're in here. I believe there's 3 of them in here, so you can try to find all 3 of them before you go into the arena. Alright, so this is the Overseer's Arena, and this is the door to go into it. And then behind us, this is where all the drops come from. This is where technically all the loot comes from. So you kind of get a sense that the Overseer's like manipulating the people on the ground with the loot and stuff like that. And so inside here, there's a giant map of the island, so it's like a monitoring area. But you don't want to go too far in here because you will activate the fight. So as long as you stay on the top level and don't go down the ramp, you should be fine to bring everything in here. And everything should be able to fit in here as well. So we do need to get everything in front of the door as well, or the door will close when we start to fight and we will not be able to bring those in and fight with us. Alright, so now that we've seen pretty much everything, I'm going to get everything in this room, and then we will finally start the fight. Alright, I think we finally did it. We got everybody inside. That is a very long process to get everything through the cave, through this area, and then finally into this arena. We have to do a whole fight after that, so it's definitely the longest encounter in the game, hands down. And this is also why I said you probably want to do this on alpha and then just be done with it. So before we get started, let's put everything on aggressive because we don't really need to micromanage these things. And really just need to get things in position, and then we can start the fight just by going down this little ramp here. So let's get them all down into the middle here. Make sure I'm sending everybody and not just one single group either. And there we go, we started the fight. So it does take a little bit to ramp up with the boss spawning in. So this fight does contain multiple phases, and in between those phases it is going to be immune to damage. There's a lot of time where it's going to be just immune to damage and either spawning adds or turning into a guardian boss. But the overall health seems to be pretty low. I don't think it's as high as some of the other bosses. And the damage seems to be pretty medium. It's not really the hardest hitting boss out of all of them, but it does do a decent amount of damage, and the fight being so long can wear down all your dinos. I'm just going to start by summoning a bunch of drones and some defense units. And it does that on occasion, especially if you kill a lot of them, it'll start summoning them again. And during that summoning process, the boss will be immune. And then once you have taken the boss down 25% of its health, it will turn into one of the guardians. So the dragon, Megapithecus, or the broodmother, it is random. And then you kill that version with lower health values, not the full health. And then after that, it will turn back into this guy, summon some adds, turn to another guardian at 50%, then go back and forth. And then once it gets down below 25% health, it'll turn into another guardian at some point. And then once you kill that, then you can just pretty much finish off the boss at that point. So you should be flying around, you should be monitoring your own health. I wouldn't spend too much time messing around with the dinos. I would probably just be focused on flying, shooting the drones, and shooting the boss with your shotgun, and letting the dinos do their thing, either killing the adds or killing the boss when it gets close to them. And that's pretty much it for the fight. You'll see how this plays out, but it is a fairly easy fight. It's just the process of getting in here that's the hard part. And with this many dinos, it should be pretty quick. I don't anticipate this fight being that long. And even if you're doing alpha, the fight should still be pretty quick as well. And you might lose some dinos because of the dragon fire or just the broodmother being really hard hitting. But other than that, I think the dinos will do more than enough work on the boss to where you can finish it off in the end with your shotgun. Alright, we did it. We got the Overseer. So that is the fight. Not too bad. What I want to do is I want to test out whether we can keep this element by throwing it into a creature. So let's put it in this Rex here, and then we'll actually rename it Element so we can find it quicker whenever we get back. Yeah, there's no drops or anything, like you can't loot anything from in here. But you do need to go to this platform and you have to stay here so you can ascend. If you're not in this platform when the portal goes up, then you will not ascend. So that's one thing you have to remember to do. You do have a little bit of time and you can do a few things while you're in here, but yeah, you want to get to this platform as quick as possible.
Is this what happiness felt like? Love? No. This is more like pride. Yes, that's it. I'm proud of you, Survivor. You've accomplished what few have. You've ascended. I once did too, when I was her. Helena. She was an explorer too. And like you, she traveled the Arks and discovered their secrets. You're following in her footsteps. Keep going. Discover what became of Helena and her friends. Survive the many challenges ahead, and you'll find me here waiting for you. Together, we may yet be able to save our world.
Okay, so once you ascend, you do go to this download screen. So we just need to pick the map we want to go to. So if you have multiple maps, you can choose one of those. But we're going to go back to the island, and then we're going to talk about the fight. Alright, it's hot, so let's put on some better clothing. That should be good. Alright, so what did we get? We got the Ascension implant for the beta. And that gets you a +10 to your maximum survival level. So we can increase our level by 10 more, and once we get the alpha, we can go up by 15 more levels. There are other ways you can get more levels by finding explorer nodes. So it does give you a pretty good chunk of levels, but you don't really need this until you get to extinction. So all you really get is like an extra stat, really, but eventually you'll get to the point where you can actually get more stuff, like more engrams beyond level 100. So you get a little bit of time to do that, but for now we can just work on our current levels and we'll be fine. So I'm gonna head back over to the volcano where we started this whole thing. Then we'll discuss the fight a little bit more while we're there. Alright, so this is the starting point, and whenever you're done with the fight, it teleports all your dinos that survived back out to here, so you have to pick these up from here. I do want to find that element dino, because I think we maybe have a chance of getting that element back, but if not, that's fine. Let's go find... oh, it's right there. Okay, there it is. It doesn't look like the elements in there anymore. Okay, so I guess you can't really save your element. We got a lot of food in this thing, it's weird. I think that comes from the bosses that you kill. They do drop stuff like this, like the dragon and stuff. But yeah, so I guess you can get your element, so you don't really want to bring a lot of element with you. You can get it from the mobs that drop it in the arena, so while you're fighting, you can pick it up, but I wouldn't bring a lot of element with you. And we did lose our otter, and we did take some damage on our test piece because we were getting constantly attacked by the drones. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the fight. It's a fairly easy fight once you get down there. And I would say even the alpha, you can do the same strategy for the alpha. I would probably just stick with some Theries though, probably get a few more Theries in there instead of some Rexes. With Theries you should be fine, they do a pretty good amount of damage. The Rexes did take more damage. With the veggie cakes that the Theries had, they did outlast the damage. And looking at this, we probably don't need that many veggie cakes to be fair, because they only use them every once in a while. So I would say like a maximum of 10 for the alpha, and then probably only need like 5 for the beta and gamma. And so yeah, that's it for everything on this series. There's not really much else on the island to do. Maybe a few more dinos, go get the explorer notes, level up your chibi, but the next map would be the Scorched Earth. And since we've already done that one, I'm actually going to go to Aberration. So we'll head over there once that map comes live. So I hope this series helped you in your fight on the island. And I thank you for watching. I appreciate the support. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.